We're live. What's going on, family? What's going on? We are here. We are here. I'm with my sister from another mother, Leigh. My name is Love Tashia Asante, and welcome to the inaugural edition of our new podcast, The Sacred Channel. Leigh, what's going on with you, my sister?
So much. I've lost my voice to start off with. So this is a great way to start a podcast with no voice, but that's okay. Just wonderful things. I mean, we're living in a very tumultuous time, but tumultuous doesn't mean negative. And that's what we're here to talk about, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, family. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Eva, welcome. Welcome to the Sacred Channel with Love and Leigh. We're so excited to be here. Turn up. Yes. Everybody, come on in. Come on in. We still got a couple minutes before we start, but we were just so excited. We're just so elevated. The vibration is so high that we just wanted to come on and greet everybody. We thank you for being here with us. We thank you for supporting us. Please share the video. There is nothing like this podcast on the air right now with Love and Leigh. There's nothing like this. And we're going to get real with you. We promise to keep it real every time we come on here. We're going to be talking about some real-ish, right? And this is just our podcast. We do a lot of serious work. We're healers. We're spiritual teachers. And we do a lot of serious work. But we wanted to come on and just bring our love, bring our light, bring our wisdom, bring our lessons, right? Because, you know, we have learned a couple things, right, Leigh?
Yes, a couple, yeah.
Over the years, right? Just a couple things.
Just a couple things.
And we want to take your questions, too.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yes, we're going to be taking your questions. If you have something that you really want to know about your life, decisions that you're in the thick of, things that you're just trying to figure out, Leigh has great gifts and spiritual insight. Myself, I've been doing the work as a healer and a spiritual teacher for dozens of years, read thousands of people all over the world. So we're also going to give you an opportunity to talk about your life and your journey and pitch questions to us. And, you know, if it's a long question, if you need some deep insight, you can just drop a little offering on either our Venmo or our Cash App, and we'll give you some love and some insight coming straight from Spirit.
Right.
But in the meantime, we're about to get into this conversation. So tag some people, come on in, and let people know that Love and Leigh are live on Facebook. And I'm just getting ready to tag some folks in my circuit.
Okay.
And then we're going to get started any minute. Eva, tell her, do you have any questions? Anything you want to talk about today? We have some topics for y'all, but if you have any questions, we want to be able to take your questions as well. So come on in, come on in. Let me turn this music back up. Oh, yeah. Y'all tag some people. Come on in, come on in. I see y'all coming in. All right, get those numbers up. We're going to start in 1 minute. Come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome. If you're just signing on, this is the Sacred Channel with Love and Leigh. This is our inaugural edition of our podcast. And we just come here to share with you and to talk, have frank dialogue. But we want to hear what you're thinking. We want to hear what you're going through. We want to hear what you are dealing with in your life. So come on in, join the show, and tell us about what you see in your life. Okay?
And how we can help.
And how we can help. Welcome, welcome. I see y'all coming in. Get those numbers up. Tag people. Welcome to the Sacred Channel. Yes. And if you're just tuning in, I am Love, and I'm here with my sister from another mother. What's your name, Queen? Goddess Warrior.
My name is Leigh Beth Grody or Leah Brucha Shiva Jaya.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And I'm in Palm Springs, California, y'all. You know it's hot here. It's no joke. This
No
heat,
joke.
the devil is a lie. That's all I have to say. The devil is a lie. This is a whole new level of heat. But I
Oh,
think, Leigh, are we ready to get started?
I believe we are.
We want to talk about some things, family, today. Just to tell you a little bit about ourselves. Again, if you're just tuning in, please share the video. Please tag your friends for one of the realest, authentic conversations between two sisters, two women, two divas, two goddesses, right? Who have been on the front lines doing their work for many, many years. I am an author of 9 books. I'm the founder of the I Teach Love Institute and the Healing Racism Academy. And I just been in the world doing my work, trying to, make the vibration, trying to lift the vibration for the last 30 years. That's what I've been called to do. And I do that through my journalism. I do that through shows like this. I do it through my books. I do it through the spiritual community that I founded, Ile Ori Agbe Egun. And my work is just lifting the vibration. However, I can do that, like to try to make the world better. Whatever spaces I go into, I just try to make it better than it was when I found it. What about you, Leigh? What do you do? What you been doing this last 3 decades?
Uh, well, I mean, I've been an activist for social issues since I was a teenager. I have fought for women's rights. I better stop fighting because we're not getting anywhere. But
That's
I
right.
fought for women's rights back in the 70s, and at the end of the 60s, I was little, but I was fighting. I fought for freedom. I fought for gay rights and lesbian rights, and now transgender rights, which
Mm,
is the same thing as the fight we started back in the 60s. It's the same fight, just different words. I work with people one on one. I'm a spiritual life coach and a teacher. I am a channel and a medium. I am I am a multi-dimensional physician, if you would. And my calling was told to me quite a few times over these last 60 some odd years I've been on the planet, that I need to be here to help others find their inner voice and their higher selves and transmute that into a higher level of existence on this planet. And by the way, folks, we have reached a new pinnacle. The world is a new world, and we are here to live a new life. And
mm,
the old paradigms that still are being shown to us by the media is not the paradigms of truth.
mm.
And we're here to discuss all of that.
Yes. Ooh, bring it. She is already getting into it. And one of my oldest friends is literally on the stream with us, Thelma Spence. Spencer, I have been knowing this sister since I was 12 years old, even though that was like only 10 or 15 years ago. But I just want to welcome you. It's so good to see you. Blessings to Your World TV. Blessings to Ia Omanike Segun, Yolanda Gautier, and all of those who are joining the stream right now. We want to welcome you to the Sacred Channel. Thanks for tuning in. Please share the video. So, some of the topics that we want to talk about today, I know a lot of you heard that former President Donald Trump was indicted. Wow. Ouch. It's official, right? And, for some of you who voted for him, I'm not judging you or anything, if, because everybody has a right to vote for the candidate that they believe in. But I'm just saying, like, he did, cause and spirit insurrection that, ended up with people dying and, a White House building being desecrated and people pooping inside of the sacred halls and rubbing it on the walls. Like, right, he led that and kind of incited that. He did grab a woman's yoni and did not apologize, acted like it was funny. He did abuse and speak horribly cruel to a disabled person. Really, dude, really, like he did talk crap about LGBT people and basically, incite violence and hatred and division in our nation. So I'm not feeling real brokenhearted. I don't know about you, Leigh. And again, if you voted for Donald Trump and you're watching the stream, hey, that's your right. You get the right to vote for who you believe in. What are
Yeah,
your thoughts on that, Leigh?
it's a weird situation because Donald Trump grew up in Queens, and so did I. And he's he's not unfamiliar in terms of personality disorder to me, because I was surrounded by men like him my whole life, living in New York and growing up there. What I see is that somebody once asked me, "Can you love Donald Trump?" And I said, "Yes, I do love Donald Trump." And they said, "For everything he's done, you still love him?" I said, "Love is on a different level. I may not like it. I don't agree with it. But that's my ego. That's my personality. That is not about one soul to another loving soul." I'm not saying I support his actions,
Right.
but I have to love the being that is him. Because
I'm trying to be like you when I grow up, Leigh. Because I'm not gonna lie, I can't stand.
I understand.
Stand Donald Trump. Like,
But
you know, I pray for him. I pray for his healing, because you have to be really, excuse my language, effed up to bring the kind of harm and hatred to the world that he brought. So I do pray for him.
Right.
I have not elevated my vibration to be able to love him. And I'm just being transparent, because you're watching the Sacred Channel. Right. And I just have to keep it real.
I'm going to tell you something. I had an experience. I'm Jewish, and I had an experience back in the 80s, the late 80s, and I met a Nazi in a 12-step room in Europe, and I went up to that Nazi, and I didn't go up to a man or one. I went up to that Nazi, right? That's how my thinking was. He's a Nazi. He's out. I'm going to get him. He killed my people. He didn't kill my people. My people in Russia, they got killed, but he killed my people. Okay.
Yes.
That place that existed inside of me when I stuck this little finger in his throat like this, over and over again, with all the self-righteous and justification that I had inside of my body. And I said, "I know what you are, and I want you to know what I am. I am an American Jewish lesbian." Well, I scared the heck out of that man. He went running out of that room. He didn't come back. And I was all proud and full of myself. And I went home and I spoke to my sponsor at the time. And he said, "You messed up. You fucked up."
Oh, man.
What? You're supposed to be on my side. He said, I am on your side. And that taught me a lesson. I had to find that man. And I had to make amends to that man. I had to neutralize my ego's potential of destruction. Because when we look in each other's eyes and I see ugly, my ugly is seeing that ugly. I don't want that ugly running my life anymore.
Wow. I mean, that you talk about spirituality, you talk about, walking truly with the compassion of God. And, that is really, to me, symbolic of that. And I don't know, I'm in this place too where I'm viewing the anger as divine. I'm viewing my rage as something divine. And I think in my own healing, sometimes I wonder if, particularly Black folks are too compassionate about the things that are done to them, because it's like there's kind of the indigenous way to like pray for your enemies. I know that's a biblical concept, to pray for your enemies, but I'm like, at what point do I continue to tolerate the horrific things that are being done to myself and, the people that I love, and the people that I care about? At what point do I show compassion to people that have none for me? And there's this line, Leigh, and to all of our listeners right now. Oh, thank you, Pinky. Thank you, House of Pinky up in here. Thank you for tagging people. Come on in. Come on in. Zanny Butler, welcome. Sabrina Williams, welcome. Thank you, D. Pepper Massey. Thank you, all of the people who are joining us right now. Please share the video. This is the inaugural edition of our new podcast, The Sacred Channel with Love and Leigh. And we're going to be coming on here, having these frank conversations and bringing spiritual insights to the issues that are happening right now in the world and in your life. And we're talking right now about Donald Trump being recently indicted. And if you're just tuning in, Leigh was talking about like the importance of, you know, praying for this man, and you know, bringing and trying to lift up his vibration through our spirituality and our spiritual walk. And I was saying that I'm in this place in my life where I'm like trying to own the rage, and I'm viewing the rage as sacred as well. I'm viewing my anger as sacred, you know, because the compassion, I'm like, where has it gotten us? You know, and there's this line I was going to say in this movie that I really love. It's a silly movie. It's called Batman Begins. I love cinema. Like, I'm a movie person. But in this movie, there's this line, y'all, where Batman is like he wasn't Batman yet. He was on his way to becoming Batman, and he was meeting with his master teacher who was teaching him martial arts and teaching him how to survive in the city in Gotham, right? With all the crime that was taking place. And he looks at him and he says, "Your compassion has made you weak and vulnerable to defeat." And when I heard him say that, it was like something clicked for me, you know. And he added another quote later. He said, "Your compassion is a quality that your enemies will not appreciate." And I mean, it's like it hit me that sometimes my compassion can be the thing that causes me to be hurt and destroyed. My compassion is the thing that, you know, it's like in some countries when you commit a crime, you get really brutal punishments, but then the crime percentages are really low in those countries, you know. And so where is the middle ground with that? We want to hear what you think as well. I see y'all. Thank you for tagging people. House of Pinky up in here. Welcome Sherry Smith. Welcome Kim Flournoy. Welcome Walker Beverly. Thank you for tuning in. Please share the video. So Leigh, what do you think? When do we stop being compassionate to these monsters and to these savages?
I'm not saying be compassionate.
Okay.
There's a difference between loving somebody and not putting up with their stuff.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
when we allow ourselves into the space of divine love, not human love, divine love. Okay. When we let divinity come through us and out, there's a lot of power in that. And a lot of people can't handle that power. And what happens, and this is why I think it's very interesting, because I would never say don't be angry for what angers you. I would never say that. Never. That's just as wrong as everything else. Because to find the path of our true divinity, we have to be all that we are. In the form of not directly initiating harm. When harm is perpetrated, do you walk into the fire, or do you stand back and like go, okay, which way out of here?
Yes.
And let me live another day to come back. But with this, when there's so much love that comes down through you and through me and through all of us, you being all of us.
Yes.
If you don't clear the chakras in your body, you implode or you explode. It's the same thing. That's exactly what's going on the world today. This planet is receiving so much love. And Trump is the dark side of all of us.
Yes.
If we are in the oneness, he is exemplifying the things that I could have at another time in my life been very capable of doing. I could have done terrible things. I did do terrible things. I have repaired that part of my life. So am I different from him? Well, you know, he's got a lot more money to play with or
and to do harm with, right?
Exactly. But the reality is that I've chosen a path, and I was able to choose that path because I went through all the different paths I needed to go to find where Leigh sits.
Yes.
Now, being a mom and a grandma of my gorgeous daughter and her husband and my grandbabies who are people of color it does. I'm a Jew. I'm Jewish. I am not white. I have said this to you from the beginning. I said, I am not Caucasian, though I am not. I got killed. My people got killed for being Jewish, and they're still being attacked today. And it's still going on. But the thing that is, I need to grow past that point if I'm to be able to be of service. He will do himself in. This is He will do himself
He
in.
already did in a lot of ways. Yeah.
But I mean, really do himself in. And
Yes.
when his
Yes.
judgment day comes,
Mm,
I don't want to
mm,
be there.
mm,
I
mm.
don't want to be there because
Yes.
everybody has to sit in front of the Creator and
Yes.
explain their behavior and take
Yes.
responsibility.
Yes.
And that's
Absolutely.
the thing that I hold on to.
Mm,
Now, does that help me when all these people that back him want to take
yes.
away my rights and have
Right.
been actively in pursuit of taking away my rights? Then I have to come to this other place.
Mm,
What do I do? How do I live in this world? And
yes.
how I live in this world is how I live in this world.
Yes.
I cannot let them stop me. I do live in California. I can
Yes.
see the ocean from my window.
Yes.
I live here because I can't live there. God
Yes.
bless all of you who are from the middle of this country. God bless each and every one of you for being in the South.
Yes.
This planet is, it's not just like Donald Trump. He's just, I swear, he's a big example. This is happening in so many countries
Yes.
all across the globe right now.
Yes.
It's not just happening here in the United States. And
Yes.
so we have our Donald Trump. And because we're Americans, we like it bigger and louder and
Right. Right.
and louder.
Right.
So what do? Do we feed the fire that's Donald Trump? Or do we take away the oxygen that feeds the flame?
Mm,
That's
mm.
my question to you.
Yes. 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 Well, when I think about that's a great question. Welcome, Ann. Hey, family. Welcome, Sugar Bear. Thank you, Pink, for tagging. Thank you, D Pepper, for tagging. Much love to everybody who's walked. We want to know what you think about these topics. I saw Darlene had posted something. I just want to read her comment really quick. It says, "The hell I've come through is the hell another will go through on the path to wholeness. In learning compassion, that they still act like that." Come through, fam.
That's
Woo!
right.
Y'all getting deep. We're just having a kind of talking about the things that are going on. We know that President Trump was recently indicted. It's looking more and more like he's going to actually pay for something. There's never been a U.S. president who has, been in prison for his crimes. They've been impeached. They've been removed. They've been, shamed, but none have ever actually gone to jail. And I think he's been, taking action based on thinking that because of his position in life, that he would not be held accountable for the horrors and the things that he did. Welcome, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. Nancy says, great discussion. And Leigh was speaking about, the compassion and the prayer and the upliftment for his vibration. And where I go with it is I look at the deeper meaning to the universe and spirit allowing someone like that to come into power.
Exactly.
Because what he did do, and this is to me is the positive side of it, is that he exposed, right? Yes, he exposed the bigotry that was being hidden. He
Mm-hmm.
exposed, the racism that
Mm-hmm.
permeates our society and the oppression and other forms of discrimination. Racism is the worst. It is a global issue, but there's many other forms of oppression, whether it is against women, whether it is trying to strip women of their reproductive rights, whether it is religious extremism, whether it is economic exploitation, whether it is the intentional planting of drugs and guns in Black and brown communities, whether it is using biological warfare. All of these to me are forms of oppression and ways that people can maintain power on the planet. So
Mm-hmm.
these are real issues, and to overcome them, it's going to take all of us coming together, because we know this doesn't just hurt Black and brown people. It doesn't just hurt Jewish people.
Right.
Discrimination and racism, it hurts everybody, because
That's
you can't throw mud on somebody without getting some on you.
exactly.
But
And
I want to, my question is, like, what is the best ways for us to deal with that? And kind of segueing into our next topic, which is racism in the Supreme Court.
mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we're going there, fam. What's going on, Rory? Blessings, fam. Colorado up in here. Now we're dealing with in the highest court of the land.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the leaders of this and the proponents of this is a Black man,
Mm-hmm.
right? By the name of Clarence Thomas. He's like one of the ringleaders.
That's right.
Now we know that, he's been bought and paid for straight up. Come, he's been bought and paid for. We've seen the receipts. He has, corporate giants who have, paid for him to make decisions in the Supreme Court that give certain groups power on the planet.
Mhm.
And it's not just enough for me to complain about it. I'm done complaining, fam. My thing is, what are we going to do about it? Oh, blessings. Oboru Oboyabo Sise, giving love to the Oloye Ifa Karade, my spiritual teacher, my master teacher, incredible brother, author of many, many books, doing great, great work on the planet. So welcome, welcome to the Sacred Channel. It's an honor to have you with us today. So family, Leigh and I are going in deep. We want to hear what you think. Put your thoughts in the chat. We want to hear your comments. What do you think about racism in the Supreme Court? And more importantly, what should we do about it? Leigh, what's your thoughts on this topic?
Well, fire their asses. That's what I say. Let's get rid of them. I mean, I feel like if they violate human rights, they are violating human rights, and that is not. There has to be some kind of litmus test for honor and respect for all people. And if that is not present, well, we need to look at that. And then there needs to be, and there can't be endless time limits. They can't have this to the day they die kind of a thing if they're acting not in the conscience. I'm not saying that you have an opinion about something. I'm saying when you make decisions to take away rights, that has been already predetermined by your predecessors, that these are constitutional rights. Yeah. When you change the documents,
come on now,
shame on you.
Yes.
Shame on you.
Yes.
Who do you think you're playing God?
Yes.
And the reality is we need more judges on the court. That's what I think we need to do immediately with a Democratic president, not because I'm a Democrat or I'm not a Democrat, but because the thinking is so severely right-winged that you can't do it in a Republican environment today, because what used to be the Republican Party is ceasing to exist.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not an issue of Democrat versus Republican. We need new people to step up, and we need them to be able to really cross the lines and stop filling your pockets with money at the expense of other people's lives, whether it be immigrants coming over the border and the governors doing what they do, that the governors are not being brought to the Supreme Court and charged with crimes against humanity. That's what should be going on in the Supreme Court. Serve the purpose that you're there to be. If you're the highest court in the land, act like it. If you're not act like in it, there's the dog. Get on your way. You have enough money now that you got from your have term limits. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
D. Pepper writes, to me, the Supreme Court
Yep.
is an institution having term limits would subject them to the rule of the law. Would subject them to the whims of the constituency versus the rule of the law. The problem is the moral constitution of the people that are being put on the court. I don't have an answer to how to fix it, but I certainly don't believe that term limits or eliminating them is the answer. Wow. Okay. Great feedback.
I could hear that. I just shudder in my boots, or I should say, I shudder in my thongs. That that the thought of them staying and creating more damage is so disconcerting.
Yes.
That that day with the Roe versus Wade.
Oh my God, that was a tragic day.
That was a tragic day.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
It's
affirmative action. I mean, the recent
same thing.
Right.
It's like on a different level, but it's not. It's the same thing.
Agreeing to ban the feds voting to ban Black books.
Right.
Really, I mean, and I don't know if people are familiar with how this legislation came about or what it's doing, but it's shutting down libraries in urban communities. And now they're talking about replacing those libraries with detention centers. So as if, the stripping of all of the arts programs and all the things that have been cut, but now you're going to take away the library, the one last free place that is, where people can come and read and learn.
Think.
And so to me, this is systemic racism at its worst.
Yeah.
And, again, the question, what are we going to do about it? One of the things that I've done is I came out of retirement. I felt like I didn't have a choice as an activist. After 35 years of activism, I had retired, and I had, I'm supporting our young people. I'm supporting, the Black Lives Matter movement. But this situation forced me out of retirement after Roe versus Wade, after the ending of affirmative action, after the banning of Black books, and the prohibition against teaching Black history and other types of history that is related to Indigenous and people of color out of the books, and out of the classroom. I was like, that's it. That's it. I'm coming back. So I founded the Healing Racism Academy. And, I'm, doing some work to try to bring us together to do something to change these things, because this is serious. And if you ever seen, there's a little silly movie called The Hunger Games. It's not really silly, it's pretty serious. But to me, the symptoms and the warnings that we're seeing now,
Yeah.
really, like, they could create a society that mimics this, or like that show Ruthless, or like The Handmaid's Tale. It's like, to me, the people who are, trying to take power in this country, this is the mentality and the consciousness of them. But I do believe, like you said, Leigh, that there's a deeper side to this, because in order for us to heal something, we do have to snatch the mask off it. We do have to expose it, and we have to see it, and we have to deal with the slimy, horror of how bad it really is, and it's been hidden.
Right.
People can put on a suit, or they can put on a KKK mask or whatever it is, and they can hide who they are and how they really feel. And I mean, this is evidenced by, the truth, and this is painful, but I got to say it, you know, the fact that 50% of white women voted for Trump. This is a known Aryan Nation clan affiliate.
Yeah.
50% of this demographic. The
Yeah.
fact that 13% of Latinos voted for this person, the fact that, Black churches, some leaders from some Black churches were bought by
Right.
his administration, and they actually stood up on a platform to express, their support for a president who couldn't stand them, whose family has a history of Klan affiliation, whose father was a grand master in the Ku Klux Klan.
Right.
This is what you voted for. You voted to kill yourself, to destroy yourself. Man, I know that's another show, but
Yeah. But in all seriousness, when you first asked me the question, I just said the first thing that came to my head, and the truth is, what I believe the solution is teaching our children. The solution is teaching our kids, even though they're adults, still teaching them, and the other part of that is teaching our grandchildren and their children. That's the generation that's going to turn this around, and we need to equip them. So what does that mean? It means keeping all the books that they want to get rid of, teaching them privately if they won't teach them in school. It's kind of like, you go to a church study, group study, book study, whatever. You do your own book studies. You bring the kids to the neighborhood. You have parent groups, and you read books, and you do book clubs, and then you ask them to think. You invite them for critical thinking. That's what we do. The real answer is we have to educate our people, and we have to educate our future generations. And I'm not laying down saying I'm old and I'm done, because I'm older, but I'm not done. And the reality is that we need, the truth for me is that we need to teach our future generations, and we need to equip them with what we learned when we were coming up and learning how to fight this thing. Because what's going on now is from the old world. And we were raised in that old world.
Yes.
Now, for them to be the children, when I say them, the children or future generations, for them to change, they need to know where their bottom line is that they're changing.
Mm,
What needs to be changed
mm.
and how to do that. And I
Yes.
think they're
Yes.
going to have more answers than we are, because there are things that are happening today in the vortex around this planet and in this planet, this rock, this living rock we live on.
Yes.
It's done with this BS. It's
Yes.
throwing people off the planet. There is going to be a lot more death.
Mm,
I'm not saying righteous death. I'm not saying the right people will die so that we can have freedom, but
yeah.
that would be nice. But there is going to be a large, big
Mm,
numbers, because
mm.
we've abused this rock. We have a we have abused it, and if we can get in touch with ancestors and the earth and
Ashe.
all unseen realm and bring it here, they will give us the information we
Mm,
need.
mm. Wow. I just put up a comment. Thank you, Leigh. A comment by Rory that says, a friend told me that the focus on and outrage about the hypocrisy is a tool to distract us from
Exactly.
looking at the underlying issues
Exactly.
and taking action on them.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting statement there that Rory gave.
Yeah.
And I definitely see what she's talking about. I definitely get what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Just to read a couple more comments, Your World TV says our choices for president are so limited that people are ignoring the horrific parts of their platforms and selecting the portions they believe benefit them the most. Interesting. Interesting. Yes, there are. I mean, when you look at what is available to the Republican Party, who else do they have that has even a shot at winning?
Nope.
And Pinky Dewberry writes, I totally agree to teaching our children from day one can't stop us as parents or the village from teaching them. My
That's right.
mom instilled in my sons how powerful they are at a very young age, as well as how much power I carry as a Black woman.
That's right.
And we see the surge of independent teaching. So if there is blessings to the ban on and the prohibition of teaching Black history and other indigenous history in the schools, the blessing is now there's been this surge of independent teaching and independent learning
Right.
on the still remaining platforms that have free press, like TikTok, like Facebook, like Instagram, right? People are creating all of these shows and platforms. One of my teachers, Akinkugbe Karade Awo, he started a Black World Minute, and there's many others where people are independently teaching history. And it's even richer than what would be in the schools,
Hello.
because the schools, right, still have, different limits to what they can say and do. So
Yeah.
I think these are some of the blessings that are coming forth from this. And again, that we had to rip the band-aid off, that we had to uncover the bigotry,
Yeah.
uncover the discrimination, uncover the ignorance,
Yeah.
right? So that we can deal with it. We just saw recently, and I want to speak his name, where this young brother named O'Shea Sibley
Yeah.
Ibaye Torun, young Black man, 28 years old, and he and his friends were out hanging out, and they say he was voguing
Yes.
at a gas station, which
Yes.
voguing has always been a dance of resistance, right? Just voguing, just being fabulous, and somebody took his life because of their ignorance. Now the jury is still out whether it was a hate crime, whether it was centered around his gayness. We don't know, but clearly it was a crime of violence, and clearly he wasn't doing anything that warranted his life being ended on that day, and the horror and the trauma that those people suffered. So so it's serious, and what I'm saying today, and I hope that everybody will get this, that we all need to do something. The time of sitting by and looking and saying how bad it is and not taking action to make it better, blessings, Wanda, welcome. Those days are over, and we can all do something, right? Even if you have the kind of job, or you're in the kind of position where you can't be in a protest or a march, or maybe you can't even be public about your support. Write a check, do something to support the work in the world to heal our planet and to prevent further acts of violence. So, because racism in the Supreme Court, understanding the role that these individuals have in how American society is constructed, and understanding the danger of people misusing their power who are in a position like that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right? We thought, oh, this will never happen. They'll never reverse Roe versus Wade.
Oh,
They'll never take away a woman's right to decide what happens to her body. People who aren't willing to spend one dime to take care of a child that they say should be born. They're not willing to give not 10 cents, not a penny
That's
to
right.
help raise that child.
That's
right?
correct.
But they're going to tell you to have a baby.
Right.
Why? To put it into struggle and poverty and suffering?
Right.
Don't get me started. But this is a sacred channel, so we can talk about it all.
That's correct.
Right?
That's right.
And there's something else going on. The writer's strike.
Oh.
Some of you are aware of. There is now almost like Hollywood has been shut down.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have this weird feeling and spiritual insight that this too is connected to the larger things that are happening in the world, because the writer's strike is not just about money. It's also about, and Leigh, you're a filmmaker. You've been in this business. You've been on television. I've been on television. We both, have, done major work in the film and television industry. And we know that most actors, even producers, before they really make it, they're usually below the poverty line. And they talk about there's no health benefits. So, you can't even get preventative health care if you're an actor. So this strike is more than just about how much they get paid, but it's also confronting the streaming, the streaming platforms, which has severely impacted the revenue that writers get, right? So again, here we have it again, millions and billions of dollars are being made off the concepts of these writers.
Right.
And the people who are creating these brilliant shows often are the least paid, right? And that something's wrong with that.
Right.
These mega corporations should not get all of that money. So
No,
what's your thoughts about that, Leigh?
The pyramid's upside down in this.
Yes.
It's upside down.
Yes.
And I'm surrounded where I live with writers. My friends are writers around here and working in Hollywood or not working in Hollywood. And they're struggling. And it breaks my heart, the greed that's involved in this, that when doors get slammed shut like they did, they make it about the dollar. And then those who are struggling, they suffer. And so what they're doing is they're creating sin. They're missing the mark. They're harming, consciously choosing to take action that harms people. And in that way, there's a spiritual murdering going on, and injury that's going on. And even if they come to terms, I don't know what happened yesterday. I didn't hear the results of the talks from yesterday, but I know my neighbors are away at their other home, so I figured they didn't work out so well.
Yes.
But the reality is that what these studio bosses who are making disgusting money, disgusting. We could feed half the world, if not the entire world, what they're making.
Yes.
So, if they would give up their salaries, if they were made to stop cashing a check, that's the only time they're going to get what they're doing, because they don't have humans by nature do not change unless they have to. And these individuals are thriving. They're blood-sucking, thriving on the life force and the energy field of others.
Yes. And we can do something about it. And I believe, we are doing something about it, because after 100 days of striking, I don't know if y'all have seen the news, but Netflix, bless their heart, And some of these other platforms are now saying they're willing to negotiate with the
Good.
writers, and it's because we hit them in their pocket. And that's when change has always happened.
Right.
We have to use our consumer dollars to
Yep.
send a message
Right.
to the people that we're supporting. And if
Right.
we continue to support companies that don't stand for, companies and institutions that don't stand for the values that we say we believe in,
Yeah.
then we're just playing TikTok. We're just playing. We're not even serious about bringing change. So we have to use our dollars to send a message. So what made them end the insanity of black people having to sit on the back of the bus? Well, black people boycotted, and some of them walked miles until those laws were changed. Laws that, segregated people from sitting on buses or drinking from water fountains or swimming in public swimming pools
Right.
that cities and states and taxpayers were paying for. When
Right.
they stopped going to those places and spending their money and they felt the hit of that,
Yeah.
that's when the discrimination stopped. So we have to use our dollars to
And we
make
have to use our bodies too. You
gosh,
know, I a few years back, quite a few years back, over 10 years ago, I went to Israel, and I'm not a Zionist. I want to say that up front. I believe in the two states. And I went to Israel, and I took part in an action where women had to sit in the back of the bus in Israel, in Jerusalem.
mm, mm,
And we went on, a group of us, and we had people supporting us, and we would sit in the front of the bus. And all the Orthodox men were freaking out.
mm.
They passed a law as a direct result of us doing that action.
Wow. Wow. I mean, this is the type of action.
No, you can't sit idly by.
Right.
You can't keep your mouth shut. I mean, don't put yourself in harm's way, but you can't
Right.
keep your mouth shut.
Survive the encounter.
Well,
You have to survive the encounter. Yes.
it's like I spend a lot of my time in my spiritual practice and, excuse me, communing with the unseen world and the multidimensional. And I get all these images of our world and how all this change is going on. But what we see is all this conflict, internal, external, racism, hatred. All of this is conflict. And not even like the war, in Ukraine, or the war. There are so many wars.
Right.
It's not just in Ukraine. What's going on in Syria right now?
Right.
I mean, it's been going on for hundreds of years.
Yes.
The treatment of women, forget
Yes.
about it.
Yes.
What they do to women
Yes.
as a punishment,
Yes.
and the garb that they're forced to wear.
Mm.
So they are totally desexualized.
Yes.
So you think of that burger, that outfit as a shield.
Mm.
And when talking with the women from those places, which I have done a lot of that, they have their circles where they put makeup on and they laugh and they dance, and they can't do it out in public.
Mm.
But they can do it. So you feed your soul and you heal. You can't heal the outside. You need assistance healing the outside.
Yes.
Because men don't respect those men. I'm not saying all men.
Yes.
I have men in my life I love, and we are copacetic.
Yes.
But men who perpetrate sexism, misogyny, and hatred of women need to get a vasectomy.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I had an interesting epiphany about that very issue. I had a really good friend of mine, and I think that year Janet Jackson was married to the gentleman from the Middle East who she had her baby with. And there was this picture that circulated on the internet of her wearing a burqa, wearing jihad. Is that how the right terminology? Please correct me if someone is Muslim on here.
Yeah.
And I was so offended when I saw it, and I was a little bit sad because I didn't like her, covering herself up, feeling the need to do that. And a really sweet sister that I love was so offended by my statement about that. Like she hasn't spoken to me since. But later, and I have some people who are Muslims who are really close to me, who I love dearly, and I respect them dearly. And I've been to mosque, and I did cover my head as respect for their practices when I went to the mosque. And but what they shared with me, this is kind of, I guess, the Western concept of this, and understanding like the Nation of Islam and what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, like his intentions were when he talks about women being over sexualized, women, being exploited, and he talks about wearing the coverings as a way for them to take away that
Right.
perception of them as just sexual beings,
Right.
and to demand that they be seen from the inside out and not just how their body is. Like that really shifted my understanding and my concept of that. And so so I see the positive sides of it too, because here in America, where women are now, we were laughing before the show today about, like, okay, well, we're going up against, people's crotches being open on YouTube, and, twerking and dropping is like it's hot. And here we are, clothed and beautiful as we are, but, competing with those audiences and those images. And for me, it saddens me to see Black women, to see particularly, queens who I love, who are showing themselves like that and demeaning themselves in that way. Not to take away from the beauty of their bodies, the freedom of loving your body, of honoring it, of celebrating it. It's like, I love that you're celebrating your body, but everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry and Jane should not be able to see your sacred temple,
That's correct.
right? And view it and lust over it or whatever. It's like, no, if it is sacred, if it is in fact sacred, then it should only be shared with those who hold it sacred. That's my thought about that, not to take away from, again, the beauty of the body. So going back to that topic about, wearing, is it jihad? I hope I'm saying it correctly, or covering one's head or even body. I do have a different view of that, and I openly apologize to the sister, because what I said was inappropriate. It was wrong. It was just as people judge my practices as a practitioner of Ifa, of an indigenous African spirituality. I have no right to speak to, especially if I don't walk that path, the beauty and the sacredness of the choice that these women have made to cover themselves. Now, I know from a realistic standpoint, just what you said, Leigh, that there are some men who it has nothing to do about the sacredness of a woman's body. They want power, they want control, they mistreat women, they oppress women. And I absolutely believe in holding men accountable for those type of practices and beings.
Right.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't think that there's one particular ideology that that kind of ill behavior is manifested in. I think it's across the board, and I think it's an individual's perspective, and they utilize whatever form they're in or forum they're in to be able to actuate power like that.
Yes, absolutely. And we want to open up. We only have a little bit more time left, but we want to open it up. One of the reasons that we got the vision to do this show, the Sacred Channel, Leigh and I, was in our work as healers, as seers, as spiritual teachers. We encounter people that are, they are transmuting serious trauma. They have losses of loved ones. We lost, over 1 million people in America from COVID, and people are still dying every day from COVID. And we wanted to be a bright light, a place where people could come and ask questions about their walk. And we could use our intuitive gifts, the gifts that God has given us, but also all of you, because everybody has intuition. Some people just practice more, so their connection is stronger.
Right.
So we wanted to be able to extend that to you. So if you have questions that you want to ask about your life, if you have questions you want to ask about the things that are happening in the world, we are prepared today to, use our intuition to try to give you insight on those questions. And again, we just want to pray. We just want to put positive energy in the world for all of you who are dealing with losses.
Mhm.
If you've been impacted by the misuse of police power, if you've lost someone due to gun violence, if you are battling domestic violence
Mhm.
or healing from sexual trauma in your life, we want to lift you up right here and right now and put a bright light around your heart and your spirit, because we know so many of us are battling trauma. Sometimes when I come on the internet, Leigh, and I know you know what I'm talking about, just when I come on social media, it's almost traumatic just to go through the timeline, right? When I saw the
Yes.
face of that young guy, O'Shea, bless his heart, and I
Mhm.
just thought about his last moments.
Right.
28 years old,
Yeah.
to not be doing anything wrong or illegal and have your life taken from you senselessly.
Yeah.
But hurt people hurt people.
That's
This is the,
correct.
the pain that's in the world. So we want to open up to you. If y'all have questions, don't be shy. Put them in the chat. If there's anything you want to ask, if you want spiritual insight,
Yep.
both myself and Leigh are here to support you. Um, and because there's so much to talk about. There's reparations. There's walking in fear over faith. There's a lot of other health crises that have been coming up and announced. There is leprosy outbreak in Florida. There is I think they said a case of malaria in California. It's just like crazy stuff, and they're going to have a vaccine for it. Another $1 trillion earning vaccine that doesn't work soon. But anyway, that's another workshop. I won't go there. Y'all know my feelings about that. But everybody has a right to decide what they're going to do for themselves, right? So any
Yeah.
questions in the chat? And I have a quote up. I just have the quote of Pinky Dewberry Juice there. I read it earlier, and again, Leigh talked about working with the youth and the importance of educating our youth and also listening to them,
Yes.
our young people, our children and our young adults, because they have a lot of wisdom. And in some ways, they know more than we, and they are far ahead of us in how they're doing their work. Leigh, any thoughts? Any closing thoughts as we're almost at the top of the hour, fam. So y'all got about 6 minutes. Don't be shy. Put your questions, your spiritual questions up there, and
It
we will
doesn't,
do our best to answer them.
and
Yes?
it doesn't have to be political, really. You can come totally away from political and come into breathe into your heart and ask the question. There's no shame. Please, I implore you. I can feel that there's a couple, 3, 4 people, maybe even more out there that have a bit of heaviness on your heart or questioning going on, and they're please take the chance. This is a unique opportunity on this beautiful Saturday to take the chance. We're available for you. This is our offering to you. Please meet us. Come on. I'd love. I know there are questions because I could feel it.
Yes. And I'm putting our websites. Leigh, put your website in the chat if you
I
can.
don't have access to the chat online.
Okay. All right. What's your website? I'm gonna
It's
put it there.
leighbrody.com.
Okay. So if you want to know more about the work that we do and you want to hook up with us to get divination or intuitive support, spiritual guidance about something that you're struggling with, I just put both of our websites in the chat, and y'all can contact us independently and learn more about the work that we're doing. Again, I want to invite everyone next Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to the Healing Racism Summit. And we're convening um, small and mega business owners, organizational and community leaders from across the nation. We're going to be coming together to talk about solutions. It'll be kind of a very different feel to that event because we're going to be focused on what we can do
Mm-hmm.
and action. And we can, of course, talk about that here. If you're just tuning in, or if you're watching with us, you're watching the Sacred Channel with Love and Leigh. And we're going to be coming on every couple weeks to talk to you, to share with you, to share our insights with you. And one thing I want to kind of leave you with as we prepare to close is that we know that recalibration is happening on the planet, right? The reason why spirit and the universe are allowing all of these challenges to come to a head and to make them visible in the world is because the universe has said enough,
That's good.
right? The universe, Mother Earth is done, right? And so, in order for these things to be healed and to be brought back into balance, we have to deal with them. We have to recognize them. We have to see them fully. Yes? And so thank you, Wanda. Yes. So we have to bring that into being. We have to bring it into the light. And we have to get into the mud, the slime, the nastiness of it. And we have to be uncomfortable so we can talk to each other. So we can't just run away from these tables because the conversation is painful, right? Racism is painful to talk about. Religious extremism is painful to talk about. Homophobia and transphobia is painful to talk about. But we have to have these conversations so that we can find healing and we can find places that we can coexist, right? We don't have to agree on everything. So what you're a Republican and this person's a Democrat or liberal? Thank you, D Pepper. Ashe, Ashe. We can still sit at tables together because at the end of the day, we all just want a safe neighborhood to live in, to raise our families, our children in. We all want love. We all want to be able to eat good food and drink clean water. We all want a safe, good place to live. And so, based on those similarities and commonalities, we can find a place of agreement despite our differences. Any closing thoughts or comments from you, Leigh? And any questions from our group?
I would like to say first, thank you. I want to say that each and every one of you that came for support of Tashia and myself, love Tashia and myself, thank you. Thank you, especially to those who came to support themselves. Thank you. I just want you to know that this is a very important time in our history. It started it started pre-COVID. It started with the whole planet being put down on lockdown. We are in a new era. If you are unsure and you just see the reverberations of what's going on, let us teach you how to see other things. It's a time to put on a new set of glasses. It's a time to open your heart, even when it seems like that's insane. Why would I want to open my heart in this situation? I'm not saying let somebody stab you. I'm saying open your heart. We are here to help, but you have to be willing to take the risk. You have to be willing to ask the question. There is an energy field that is coming through this planet right now that is pure divine love. Whatever you believe divinity is, it is. That energy is not a human energy. It is not in human form. We, with these carbon structured bodies, we need to clear and open ourselves up to be able to receive and relieve all the blockages that are inside of us. If we inhibit that from happening, what happens is it comes through and we implode and we explode. Do you want to implode and explode? Have you been feeling like, is it the full moon or what's going on? There's major shifts happening. That is the purpose of this time period. If you are a seed person, a star person, or a light person, if you are a person who believes in shadows and wants to bring the light, if you are a person that has the light and wants to bring the dark, it's all good. This is an amazing, amazing, amazing time. Please don't rest. Please don't lay down. Please, if you need a hug, get a hug. If you need to be held, then be held. But do not do this alone. We are a community, and that is the purpose, is that what we can do and what we are doing, whether you're aware of it or not, you're already doing it. You're already having the feelings about it. You're already having the rejections about it. You're already having reactions. You're already doing it. Why not do it in consciousness? So that with that ability to expand, there is so much juiciness that is coming towards us to bring us through this time period to the next dimension. This is a dimensional thing. It is not happening just on one level. It is happening on so many levels
Mm.
all at the same time. That's why we feel so overwhelmed, because we can't see the other levels. Because you're looking with these eyes. Stop with the eyes. Look through the third eye. Remove yourself. Make your third eye like a movie screen. Let the images come to you. Open up with your breath. Breathe from your head to your heart. Be in your body. Love your body. We need these things, these carbon structures. We need them to hold our souls.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love you. I really wish somebody would have asked a question, because I love chatting. But alas, next time. Love you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leigh. Thank you for that. And I receive those intentions. And we know that there are people who may see this show, going to watch the replay, that you may be struggling. You may be going through a tough time in your life. You might not know how you're going to feed your children or pay your rent
Mhm,
or your car note. You may be struggling with a health challenge.
mhm.
And sometimes spiritual insight can open up so much to us. It has saved my life, and I have my elders that I go to, and they help me to chart a path and to see things, right? Yes, that I can't see with my human eye. So that's what the reading and the intuitive medicine is so helpful with. It helps us to see what is not visible in our limited sight about our life. So please, you can connect with myself or Leigh. I posted our websites in the chat, and we are here. But for the time being, we place light, and we send light out to the planet, send light out to all of you and the people who are going to watch this after the presentation. We surround you with light, and we uplift the conditions on this planet. And we know that elevation is taking place. So we just speak healing for our earth, for the people who inhabit the earth, and all over the world, that love be the energy that rules. And so it is.
Amen.
Thank you for tuning in. Yes,
Yes.
we love you. And
Thank
we,
you.
yes, and we'll see you next time in a couple weeks. We'll be back on at the end of August for our next episode of the Sacred Channel. Please share the video, family, and be good to yourself today. If no one's told you, we love you. You're all right, and you're going to be all right. Peace and blessings. Bye, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, somebody says, oh, thank you. They were talking about my TV show. Right. Yes, I did do a TV show on the Sci-Fi Channel.
I,
Yes.
I remember.
Right. We just went back like 13 years. That was a real journey. Thank you so much. All right, family. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good evening.